Hello everybody, welcome along. My name is Benjamin Bloom. This is the Benjamin Bloom Football Channel. Please leave your bias at the door and join us in nervously, excitedly looking ahead at England versus Denmark on Wednesday night in the Euro 2020 semi-final. In my lifetime, we've been here a couple of times before. 1990, lost to West Germany in the World Cup semi-final. In 1996, lost to Germany in the European Championships. And of course in 2018 as well, lost to Croatia. Can England get to a major World Cup or European Championship final? Hopefully we can tell you yes on Thursday morning. But in the way are Denmark, who, having lost the first two games in this tournament, have grown into it. And I'm sure you're going to see a lot of analysis. But it does feel like we've got to know this Denmark squad and Denmark crowd during the tournament. And they will be, hashtag, they're no mugs in the semi-final. And possibly, well, I think most people would agree, a trickier opponent than Ukraine were, but are they on a level with the Germans? Let's be fair, England have beaten everybody except Scotland and kept a clean sheet in every game. So confidence is high, but there's plenty of obstacles to overcome before England could say they were in a major championship final. Oh, it's exciting. So there's the Denmark run through to the semis. You can see that first game, Denmark 0, Finland 1. We'll look at the shapes in a minute. And there's obviously pre the Christian Eriksen event and post the Christian Eriksen event. And this game is a really weird one. It's an outlier. You can't really take the result massively seriously given the circumstances in the kind of emotional response to the collapse of Christian Eriksen, who, let's not forget, is Denmark's best player, number 10 from Spurs and Inter now, and somewhat of a talisman. So, yes, of course, we would all been shocked and horrified, whoever it was, but people forget it is their guy, their best player. So, defeat against Finland, and then they seemed really hyped up against Belgium, took the lead early. And we all know what happened in the second half. Kevin De Bruyne got on and was brilliant, wasn't he? And scored a wonderful second goal, set up the first one. And it was 2 defeats from 2. And you'd have been forgiven for thinking the Danes they're done. The horrific visions of what happened to Eriksen. And then Belgium was too much. And it would take a spectacular set of results on the last day for them to get through. However, those results happened. Big performance against Russia, who collapsed, didn't they? And those 2 goals late on to give the goal difference on top of the 3 points meant that the Danes qualified. Damsgaard, Poulsen, Christensen and Mahler. And a rejigged Denmark side then with 2 defeats and just 3 points get through. Yes. They can thank the format a little bit with 4 out of 6 third place teams. We knew someone would be getting through, didn't we? But they banged in the 4 goals that they needed to give themselves a positive goal difference. And it was the same for everybody. And through they went against the Welsh. Big win against Wales. Look at that. 2 for Dolberg and then a couple of late goals. Mahler, again, the left wing-back, we'll talk about him. And Braithwaite with the late one in 94 minutes. But 2 consecutive 4-goal victories. And that took them to the quarters where they made the Czechs the other night. Delaney early from a set play. Dolberg, lovely goal again. Mahler, brilliant assist. The Czechs were really good at the start of the second half, but that run only lasted 15 minutes and then the Danes managed to see the game out. So key that they went in 2 up. And here they are in the semi-final. On the right-hand side there, you can see the most used players, and 3 have played every minute. Mahler, the wing-back, Schmeichel, the keeper, Højbjerg, who is not quite the Højbjerg you know from Spurs, different role, and he looks really good in it, doesn't he? Braithwaite then, and Christensen and Kjær have started all the games, but not finished them. So you've got 5 starts from 6 players there. And Delaney, if you look a bit further down, he's been substituted out a couple of times. Vestergaard has appeared in all 5 games. So there's 8 players who have appeared in all 5 games. You can see Damsgaard there. And let's be very frank about this. If Eriksson had stayed fit, Damsgaard would have maybe appeared in some of the games, but he certainly would have started 4 like he has. The other way round, Eriksson, we would be sat here saying 5 games for him, most likely, wouldn't we? And then Poulsen and Larsen. Larsen, the right wing back, and Poulsen plays well. Someone who's not mentioned on there is Dolberg, who's actually scored 3 goals in the past 2 games, hasn't he? So we think we know most of the team, and we'll come on to the shape, and we think we know who the stars are. There's a couple of little choices that the Danes have got to make. So there are the teams that they've played, and you have to go across the top left to right and then across the bottom left to right. So you can see they start off with a back 4 in the first game, and of course Christian Eriksen in the team. Jonas Vind, the number 9 up top, and Daniel Vass, the right back. So very much a sense, as we say many times, the team that starts the tournament is not the team that finishes the tournament. Obviously, the issue with Eriksen then facilitates a change of shape. Vestergaard comes in as a third centre-back, and Damsgaard comes in as a sort of attacker. You can see Vind from that moment on is not in there. Poulsen up the top. There's the big win top right against Russia. So again, the 3-4-3. Still Vass starting at right back. And if I quickly scan that, that is unchanged. They go again with the 3-4-3. Larsen is playing at right wing back over Vass at this point. But Dolberg comes in over Poulsen, who's injured. Big theme that when people have gone out, whoever's come in has stepped up to the plate, haven't they? Vestergaard's taken his chance. Dolberg has taken his chance. And Larsen down the right-hand side has taken his chance as well. We get the quarter-final down there, and it is a third game there unchanged. So I do understand, even if I was Yusuf Poulsen, I'd think, or maybe I should be starting, why they've stuck with it. And look, the past 2 games, Dolberg has scored 3 goals in there. So there is every chance that the Danes will stay unchanged. I'm pretty sure there's no booking issues there. Schmeichel, Christensen, Kjær, Vestergaard, Larsen and Mahler, the wing-backs, Højbjerg and Delaney, Braithwaite, Damsgaard and Dolberg. It's very likely that that will be the side and that will be the system. The only real possibilities are the players we've mentioned, Vass at right wing-back, but why would you change Larsen when they're balanced out so well with him and Mahler? And whether he goes with Poulsen or not over possibly Dolberg. Dolberg has scored 3 goals in the last 2 games. And you would suspect, I think he's only 23, isn't he? You would suspect that Dolberg starts and Poulsen will come in at some point. In terms of the star players, we've mentioned them. Schmeichel we know all about. It's quality at the back there. Look, Christensen, Chelsea, Kjær, Milan, Vestergaard, Southampton. Mahler has been brilliant. Another one of these many Atalanta players, the old right-footed left wing-back. But what a cross for the second goal in the quarter-final as well. So it didn't matter. He wasn't on his natural foot there. Højbjerg and Delaney, that's good. And you would look at that if you'd watch Spurs at any point and think, oh, Højbjerg will sit there and maybe Delaney there'll be a nice tight double pivot in the same way that England fans seem to think midfielders aren't allowed to come forward when there's 3 behind them. But they have been, and particularly Højbjerg, his assist numbers are really good. His progressive passing numbers are really good. So he actually needs to be looked after in terms of getting the ball into the front for Damsgaard, Braithwaite and Dolberg. Look, are Damsgaard, Braithwaite and Dolberg Saka, Kane and Sterling level? Possibly not, but there's a lot about them, and this team plays on the front foot. They've got experience and power at the back, decent on set plays, good double pivot, wing backs balance them out nicely, good energy and good supply line. Damsgaard's got a little bit of trickery, with Braithwaite more of a direct runner, and Dolberg is a finisher. He's proven it in the last 2 games. So this is not to be taken lightly. And let's play that awful game. How many of these would get in the England team? Well, maybe I should leave that for you to tell me in the chat, because obviously England are playing very, very well. Certainly before the tournament, I think most would have been focusing on a fit Christian Eriksen. Kasper Schmeichel, I don't know. Pickford's looking. Look, there's no one struggling in the England team at the moment. So look, that is Denmark, who, if England are not at it, or England don't take them. Look, I think the days are gone now. Southgate's got the humility in the England team. Don't take them, or take them too lightly. Well, I don't think that's going to happen. But it is possible that England could get overawed, or emotionally they aren't quite there. And Denmark will do the business. There has been a narrative perpetuated based on, it's do it for Christian Eriksen and the emotion and all of that. And whilst that's very laudable, and of course that human emotion is natural, I don't really think that's now the thing. It's something you can kind of play on if you so desired, but it's the first game now, and things move fast in football, don't they? And it was very much getting over the line and getting through the group with the Russian win, and then since then they've frankly moved forward without Christian Eriksen and a new system there. So you never know. They could lean into that emotion, but there's I think there's certainly a lot more tangible things we can discuss that make Denmark a viable and decent opponent for England. There's a reason they're in the semi-finals, for goodness sakes. And here, of course, is the England route to the quarterfinals. I should say semi-finals. Teach me to copy and paste from the last preview show, won't it? Ignore that. But look, 1-0 against Croatia, 0-0 against Scotland. The big win there, Czech Republic first, 1-0 again. So 7 points and no goals conceded. And then the last 2, just so impressive from England. 2-0 against Germany, and burying a few ghosts, temporarily or not, who cares? They did. And then 4-0 against Ukraine there. Kane, Maguire, Kane, Henderson. And look, maybe I've gone too far with this on the channel, but I've been... and it's not that even I'm a big Southgate fanboy. It's just what I was hearing was just ridiculous a lot of the times. A lot of English fans... anxiety about Southgate and about systems and strategies. And look, the narrative around England is toxic. It always gets toxic. It's very negative. I personally strongly believe that football fans, me included, do not understand international football in any way as closely as they do club football. And I think there's a different kind of line of thought in international football that Southgate particularly has, that a lot of people underestimated, and there's just nothing to complain about really now. He's tried to involve everybody. He's kept the normal circus around England at bay. They haven't conceded a goal. Look, people moaned about Mings and Phillips and Sterling in the first game. Mings was fine. He kept Harry Maguire's position solid. People moaned about Henderson and Maguire being in the squad in the first place. They've worked their way in very sensibly and both scored in the last game. People moan about Phillips and Rice. They've been excellent. People completely mischaracterised, that they thought that Phillips and Rice were going to be sat there and like Dunga and Maro Silva not crossing the halfway line. People have been totally wrong about that. People have been so wrong about Sterling as well. Get him out the team, blah, blah, blah. People have obsessed about Grealish and Sancho. He's put both of them in and used them sparingly. And kept them hungry. And amazingly, people wanted Kane dropped and, oh, Kane's not, he's not going to do anything this tournament. He scored 3 goals in the last 2 games. So every, not every moan, but most of the moans I heard in big numbers have just been debunked by what's happened on the pitch. Of course, people will pipe up, were England to lose now, and say, I told you so. But I think surely, I've said this from about 3 games ago, surely it's just get behind the boys now and get them to the final. Don't obsess about players that aren't in the first 11. We'll talk about who we think might be in the first 11. And maybe a bit of respect for Southgate, who so far through this, his decisions have all been vindicated, haven't they? And his strike rate is very, very good. There are the 11 top minutes makers for England, and a lot more rotation, look, compared to the Danes. Only one player on 450 minutes, and every other outfield player has dipped in and out. But you can still get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 who have started all 5 games. Pickford, Stones, Phillips, Kane, Sterling, Rice. And you talk about the spine of your team. There's a keeper, a centre-back, both your central midfielders, your central striker, and Sterling, a wide forward as well, who's contributed 3 goals and opening goals as well. Not far off are Walker and Shaw, who've been fullbacks or wingbacks or whatever they've needed to be. Maguire's come in and frankly would have started all 5 games had he been fit. And then Mount and Trippier are trusted lieutenants of Southgate. That's what this has been built on. But come on, Foden's been used. Sancho has been used. Grealish has been used. And look, you make the decision. You got one position to play Sancho, Grealish or Foden. Obviously, Saka has been in certain games as well. And we saw the return of Mount, and we saw Sancho used in the last game. So he's kept it varied, but he's kept it winning, hasn't he? And here we are in the semi-final. Here are the team shapes that's been used. So that first game, there was no Maguire, so Mings had to start. He went with Trippier, went for the experience to set plays and started Foden. Of course, Mount at that point didn't have to isolate. Second game, same shape-ish. Mount in there again. Foden and Sterling, of course. And he switches the fullbacks out, Shaw and James coming in. Maybe James put in there to combat Robertson and Tierney of Scotland. And we do, remember, have a flying left wing-back in Marla here, don't we? Then we go to the Czech game where Jack Grealish comes in. Mason Mount, though, not available for that one and plays the 10. So does Bukayo Saka. And I said this about the Danes. Everyone who's come in has done a good job. Saka, Grealish, Sancho, Mings at the start of the tournament. They've all done their job, haven't they, within that team framework, which has seen Pickford and Stones and the 2 Rice and Phillips in central midfield. There's that Germany game where we go to the 3 at the back. And we expected that, and Trippier comes in at right back. The double pivot stays the same. The front 3, if you call them a front 3 without that 10 of Grealish that was in there in the previous game, stays the same with Saka, who we believe had a knock for the last game. Would have been interesting to see if Saka would have started ahead of Jadon Sancho in the last game. But not that we want Saka to be hurt, but it was nice to see Sancho in. And I dare say for England fans obsessing about players who aren't on the pitch, just great to get him in and shut that. Look, he started. He played a game. There you go. You can stop with the what does Sancho need to do to start a game stuff. And Southgate as well said what we said a couple of games ago, didn't he? The training has been excellent from Sancho, so brilliant. So it was a back 4. Now, I got that one wrong. I'm looking at the bottom right picture now. I thought he would stick with the back 3, but it's almost like Southgate knows more than me about this, isn't he? Which he obviously does. He knew the Ukrainians were going to go mid-low block, try and get Zinchenko roaming a little bit, and Yarmolenko maybe coming in off the side onto that left foot, joining Yaremchuk. But they sat in, and England didn't need a third centre-half there. It's going to be different against Denmark, I think. And of course, Southgate loves Mason Mount, doesn't he? And he brought him back in that 4-2-3-1 shape. Now, this is going to be very, very interesting. So we assume that the Danish team will be a 3-4-3, and we pretty much picked out most of the players, and it may well be unchanged again from the last couple of games. It was Vass possibly at right wing back. Could they put Poulsen back in to start this one? Maybe Dolberg goes on the bench. Those are the only possibilities. With England, you still have that question of will it be a back four or will it be a back three? And it was very pertinent that with Kimmich and Goossens for Germany that they wanted to stop them at source, the wing-backs there. So, look, I said this last time and I was wrong. But I will say it again because I do think Denmark are an upgrade on Ukraine. And I do think they have a bit more momentum down the sides. And they've just got a bit more power up front if they do get supply into that. Remember, it was a 3-5-2 for the Ukraine. So there wasn't a sense of, bombarding players forward. And the Sidorchuk and I can't remember who the other central midfielder was, forgive me, didn't manage to get up and support. This will be different, I think. I think Højbjerg will try and drive it forward from central midfield. And I think they will try and get the three, which we think will be Braithwaite, Damsgaard, and then pick your poison. Dolberg probably or possibly Poulsen. Try and get them narrow. Try and get midfield runners and get those wing-backs forward with the screen then of Delaney and the back three. And we know what happens, don't we? One wing-back will possibly tuck in if there's overloads potentially coming back against them. Although we have seen one cross to the other a couple of times. So I think England will go with the back three again, which would mean Pickford in goal. We all know what the back three will be. It'll be Walker right, Stones central and Maguire left. Maguire's been really good since he came back in. Shaw was great last night. He'll play left wing back, won't he? And then I assume it'll be Trippier for experience and set plays. Trippier went against Goossens in the last one. There is a plausible shout for Reece James, though. Just go and do a number on Marler. Just take him out of the game. Don't let him past you. Just a little bit more size, a little bit more possible. He's got a few years on Trippier, hasn't he? But you do lose the set plays. But look, there's plenty of good England set play takers. We know we'll get the double pivot of Rice and Phillips. And hopefully this buffoonery about, that would be a defensive double pivot. We have seen those two dominate in central midfield and get forward. And remember those Sterling goals, they pretty much all came from Phillips pushing right up the pitch and pressing. So hopefully we're not going to get any of this narrative, which we can say, this is not a matter of opinion, it's a matter of fact, was incorrect. The idea that those two central midfielders will just sit. Plenty of evidence to the contrary with their forward passing numbers, and just bring their heat maps up and you realise people were wrong about that who said that. Kane will obviously start up top. Sterling has to start down the left, and hopefully there's no more debate about that. The pacing, the running behind. Another assist in the last game, although he didn't score. He didn't need to. We scored 4 without him scoring. And it's just down the right-hand side, isn't it? Whether it's Sancho or Saka. And I don't know. And as an England fan, I'm very happy for either of those players to start down the right-hand side. It does beg the question of Mason Mount, doesn't it? Because it feels like he would be the fall guy if you do go to the 3-4-3. But it is what it is. If we do go 4-2-3-1, Mount will play, won't he? And it'll be Kane up top with Sterling left, Sancho or Saka or Foden. Can you believe that? Wide. We haven't mentioned Grealish yet, who's obviously the weapon off the bench if the game's slow and tight and they go to the low block. Get him on dribbling. But you'd think Mount, in respects of looking after Højbjerg, and pinning them back, pin back Delaney and Højbjerg, if they went for the 4-2-3-1. And you know what it would be across the back, don't you? It would be Pickford. If it's a back four, it would be Walker, Stones, Maguire and Shaw with Rice and Phillips. So I think he'll go with the back three because of the wing backs and the front three, trying to get those guys narrow, Damsgaard and Braithwaite up top. I was wrong in the last game, so he may prove me wrong again. he may value the contribution of Mount in terms of pressing higher than he does the contribution of having the wing-backs to stop the other wing-backs from the other team. So who knows? Shall we see what the bookies are saying? Our friends over at Betfair say England in 90 minutes 4-6, Denmark 9-2. They think 13-5 to go to extra time, but in extra time again, England 2-7 there, 7-2 on, and Denmark 5-2. So England are the favourites. A clean sheet for England and a win. You can get 1-0 at 4-1, 2-0 at 11-2. For the Danes to win, look at that, 2-0 to the Danes, 25-1. So the expectation there, look, I say it many, many times when we look at odds in these videos. Often it's a liability, not a probability, i.e. we live in England, lots of people bet on England, and the odds come in and reflect that. So probability and liability are absolutely two different things here, aren't they? So that's where the bookies have got it, and this is where we all get shut down as England fans. Oh, you're arrogant, you're entitled, and all of this. Let me say it plainly. There is no amount of arrogance or entitlement. As an England fan, I do not expect to win anything. Put it that way. And I've never seen England win anything apart from the tournoi in 1998. I'll be very nervous, and maybe not in the same way they were against Ukraine, but England are favourites to win this game, aren't they? And we are still talking about putting out strategies that leave Saka, Grealish, Foden, Bellingham, Henderson, all on the bench. Reece James, Ben Chilwell. So there's strength, and there's strength in depth as well if things are not going well. And Southgate's got a bit of credit in the bank after the first, 5 games now with the 5 clean sheets. Be very interested to know what you guys think about the clean sheet thing, because it looked like it was playing on Jordan Pickford's mind at the end of the game against Ukraine, didn't it? So it's great, and obviously I'd love to go through the entire tournament without conceding a goal, but I wouldn't want it to get into the defenders' heads too much, to the point of maybe you do get to the final and you go behind. It's like, what do we do? We have not been here, but they've been very calm and very cool and very collected all the way through. So I think it will be 3-4-3 versus 3-4-3 like it was against Germany, with the potential to bring in Mount or Grealish or Foden or Sancho, whoever doesn't start in that front right position. And I think otherwise, everybody's in a good place. The squad looks happy. Let's just hope it's been as boring and predictable as it has been so far, and we get another clean sheet and an England win. Chaos is a worry, isn't it? Early goal against, red card, chasing game. Yeah, that's when the anxiety will ramp up, won't it? Look, I've had my say, now you have yours. Get your thoughts in the comments. What strategy do you think Gareth Southgate will use in this one? And how the hell do you expect it to play out? And will we be sitting here on Thursday with our hearts racing because we're going to have England in the final of a major tournament, potentially? Oh, it's a big chance, isn't it? Let me know what you think in the comments. That was our England versus Denmark match preview. I'm excited. I hope you are too. Join me on Wednesday night for all the festivities. We'll be starting at 7:45. Of course, on Tuesday, though, we will find out who is making the final. Will it be Italy or will it be Spain? So by the time England kick off on Wednesday, it'll be down to 3 for the Euros, because one of Italy and Spain will have gone home, and we'll know who one of the finalists is. Woof. It's exciting. Get your comments in, and it's a big over and out from me. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button to see more videos from this channel. Hit the subscribe button and to be notified every time we upload. Ring the bell for those notifications to come through on your device. If you really want to support the channel and me as a content creator, I will be eternally grateful if you head over to the merch store and grab something, or support over on Patreon, patreon.com/Benjamin Bloom. Thank you for your time. Go and watch another video.